Oh, we're live again? All right, cool. Well, let me share this. Let me. Yeah, it's kind of important that we alert everyone that we're back. All right. There we go.
There we are.
Cool. All right. So, you were telling us about that time the clown molested you, Chris?
Oh, yeah. So it was back in college, and his name was Frank. Frank was originally pretty muscular. I didn't know what his previous life dealings were until we had a conversation, and he kind of brought it up, and I was like, all right, this guy's kind of weird, but I'll give him a nudge. And so the next day, right? This is crazy. The next day, I mean, in Boulder, Colorado, of all places, the next day, I see Frank one more time.
Why I love Chris.
And he's got no clothes on other than a clown face and the shoes, but nothing else.
The shoes are important.
You
gotta have the shoes, yeah.
If you're gonna wear shoes, you gotta wear socks in the house. And so that's what I see when I walk into the door. And then from that day on, I was like, man, I fucking love clowns.
And we're back.
That was a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing.
Chris, I would pay to see you in an improv act. I think
you're calling, Chris. Meanwhile, I'm sure like clowns across the country are like, I gotta get this guy's number. I get his digits.
My name's Frank, and I'm a clown. Is this what?
Is this what's like to be desired?
Your fan club just grew by 500.
Anyways, Destiny 2. So
right, Destiny 2, yeah.
Destiny 2.
Speaking of clowns,
right? So yeah, Osiris is coming out with terrible reviews. Actually, people are calling it the worst Destiny expansion since the Something Wolves, which I hear was awful.
House of Wolves.
It broke the game.
House of Wolves broke the game. How'd that happen? I don't remember that.
Oh well, they dropped a bunch of new weapons and increased the stats for a bunch of weapons that people already had. So it was pretty much like if you wanted to be competitive, you had to buy the DLC and get the weapons.
Right.
And so I think people are actually complaining about that for this. I haven't played too far into it to know for sure, but
sounds about right.
Yeah.
So let me ask you this: do you guys still feel that Destiny 2 has some legs? Do you feel like they can recover? Where do you feel is the point in which we're past the point of no return and Bungie has kind of driven the franchise into the ground? How much more time would you give it, Chris?
I'm probably going to play through the story and just kind of like play with my friends when they're on. But I mean, even this last week, I dropped out of like the raid group and stuff. I don't like grinding and I don't like doing this over and over again. So I'll just do what's different, kind of get a taste of it, probably play when the next DLC comes out. Just
have you already purchased the expansion pack? So you're essentially like,
so I was really lucky and got Destiny 2 for free, and so I've only had to pay for the.
Oh, okay.
So it was an easy, but yeah, I kind of want to see the new raid room and I want to see the new guns. There's some new skins for the guns that are cool, but that's not like why.
I see. All right. Well, keep us posted. I'm kind of curious. But let's move past Destiny 2. Let us talk for a second about Nintendo. Nintendo, actually, more stories this week about Nintendo than I'd expect. But the first one is, I think, caught a lot of people by surprise. And this is basically that Nintendo is releasing HD ports of Wii games on the NVIDIA Shield in China. That's like a long sentence, I know, but kind of crazy. Never expected it to happen. A lot of people are pointing this and saying like, oh, this is just their way of testing the waters and that we're going to see these HD ports come to the Switch, which makes a certain amount of sense to me. What's your guys' take on this? Are you going to be like trying to figure out how to get these things onto like create a Chinese account? I know you have a Shield, for example, Josh. So have you thought about making a Chinese account to download the Nintendo games?
No, I mean I've got a Nintendo Switch, and I imagine that's going to happen eventually. I think if you go back when we were talking about the NVIDIA Switch and when we found out it was basically a shield in disguise, I said that we would start seeing some crossover. I thought that it would be AAA titles that people had developed for Shield, that they just took the APK and brought it over to the Nintendo Switch. I totally didn't expect it to go this direction.
A really surprising move, like China of all places. So for those not in the know, China had a bunch of laws that basically prevented games from coming out in China. So I guess Nintendo sees this as, that doesn't mean that bootlegs didn't make, because, nature finds a way. But you guys think that this is just an easy way for Nintendo basically to expand their influence in the country in which they probably don't have that much recognition, maybe?
Yeah, they probably can't produce enough Switches to cover that market either. So,
oh yeah, definitely not.
Ironic since they're made there, but
that's a good point. It's a good point.
The Chinese market has so many IPs, right? It's already super saturated without Nintendo. So I think you're right. It's probably a way to get a new audience, but I don't know if it'll be receptive. A lot of other companies have tried to do the same thing in China. I think Disney is a good example of it working, but I don't really hear of any other success stories of like foreign companies moving into China to grab the market outside of like American, right?
Right, and to be clear, right, these HD are of games that don't have HD ports yet, with the exception of Twilight Princess. Punch Out, Super Mario Galaxy is supposedly coming soon, and new Super Mario Brothers Wii have all been released already. Which again, like, I guess it's probably not too hard to upscale the graphics, but very interesting.
Our next news story will be when they finally bring these to Nintendo Switches in the rest of the country, and there's not price parity, because they're only like $10 each game or something in China. But I guarantee you, if they do an HD remake of Mario Galaxy, it's going to be $50 here.
Oh, they better not do that.
Watch, that'll be our next news story.
Maybe, God,
I'd guess 40 tops personally.
Well, but it won't be $10.
No, yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I imagine 30, but yeah, that's a good point, Josh. That's a good point.
That's
extra Nintendo story involves their mobile platform. So, Animal Crossing run has brought in 24 million.
Hype, and when they announce it they'll get more pre-orders, or however that all works itself out, but they'll get more interest in the Switch version as well.
Personally, so I can see that being.
People who are hype about the Switch one are going to go and get the mobile app just to get their fix for now until the Switch version comes out.
That's honestly that's a great way to approach it from their perspective, because I kind of approach games the same way. Like, if I know a game is coming out, I might just be more interested in the series as a whole up until the release date. So that's not a bad strategy. It's not a way for them. That's not a bad way for them to come at it. So I can see that.
Okay, that's fair. Do you guys see Nintendo continuing to push mobile titles despite, obviously not being as successful as they want the mobile titles to be?
It's where the money is. Mobile titles make more money than any other genre out there. So if they want to try to capture some of that pot, then they've got to. And more people have phones than anything else. It's kind of like that whole strategy of let's cast a wide net and see what we bring back, right?
Yeah, it's almost like they can't really afford to not be involved in mobile. So it's just really a matter of doing it right.
Well, honestly. Except that you're forgetting that Nintendo is a crotchety old man that never does what you think they're going to do.
Yeah, I mean, you love Nintendo. I would. It's one of your favorite. That and Hot Nuts.
That's true.
Yep.
Hot Nuts.
Loves Nintendo almost as much as he loves Hot Nuts.
Yeah,
that's true.
Tied for.
Can't go anywhere without my Hot Nuts. So yeah, I do think that Nintendo is going to be in an interesting spot. I haven't seen anything yet from their mobile offerings that have really grabbed myself. And I play mobile titles all the time, so I feel like I
Huh?
I thought you were trying to say something by coughing.
No.
Yeah, so I mean, I feel like I would be an ideal candidate for them, right? Like, I have nostalgia for Nintendo. I play mobile stuff all the time because I have an hour commute on the train, so my phone is out there and I'm doing stuff. And they just keep fucking up. And it was a prime example of this is Super Mario Run. Super Mario Run's actually a really nice game, but they made it keep checking in with a central server. And if you're in an underground subway, you can't play it. And the levels are short. The levels are like a minute. So even if I start a level above ground, as soon as I play through a level really quick, I have no signal. That's it. I'm done playing the game. It sucks. So get it together, Nintendo. Give us an offline game. I mean, be reasonable. Don't charge us like $30 like Squeenix, because that's just a dick move. But give us something we can actually enjoy is what I'm trying to say. Our last story is the last story. Yeah, the last regular story has to do with Take-Two, actually. So there was a conference recently. It was the Credit Suisse 21st Annual Technology, Media, and Telecom Conference. Never heard of this before, but it's the 21st one, so I guess other people know about this. A presentation was being given by the Take-Two Interactive president, Karl Slatoff. And of course, everyone should fucking know what Take-Two is, right? Like, I don't think... If you're a gamer, you should know Take-Two. Anyone want to shout out a Take-Two game real quick?
Burnout? No, Burnout isn't a Take-Two game, is it?
No, that's Criterion. Take-Two would be the sports titles, right? They do sports titles.
It's Rockstar
GTA,
right?
Rockstar.
Rockstar.
Yeah.
Take-Two is Rockstar. So
wait, so Take-Two is the publisher of Rockstar games?
So Take-Two is Rockstar and 2K.
Borderlands,
yes.
Right?
Borderlands is not. Borderlands.
That was Gearbox.
Borderlands is I'm pretty sure it's.
I'm pretty sure it's published by Take-Two.
Yes, BioShock, XCOM, Max Payne, Manhunt, Bully,
Sid Meier, right? Civilization. That's Take-Two.
Yep, Civilization.
Yeah, and like I said, they own Rockstar. So
and
I didn't know they owned Rockstar. That's news to me. I didn't know that.
Yes, they own Rockstar.
Wow.
So you know this company. When the president of Take-Two opens his mouth, I think gamers should listen. And what he had to say at this conference was kind of interesting. He basically said that there's no question in his mind that the games industry is going 100% digital, which I think at this point really isn't a controversial statement to make. He did waffle a bit on how soon he thought it was going to happen. He said, and this is an exact quote, he said, "I just can't predict whether that's 5 years, 10 years, or 20 years. It's probably less than 20 and maybe more than 5, but I think it ultimately gets there." What do you guys think? How long is it going to take us to go completely digital?
I think he's absolutely right in that it's definitely going to happen. Just looking around at how we live now, where we're in such a hyper-connected world, it's definitely inevitable. I'd say his timeline, honestly, that's probably conservative to me. I'd be surprised if it takes. I'd be surprised if it takes 10 years before disc-based games completely are phased out. I would be surprised if it takes longer than 10 years because I'm already starting to see it happen. And I'm not happy to say that. I'm not excited. The opposite, actually. I'm kind of old-fashioned that way. I really like to have a physical collection of my games, and that's what I'm used to.
It's like having an album collection.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I just kind of like the physical product of it, and that's just what I'm used to. But just looking at the writing on the wall, I think he's absolutely right. There's really no denying that PlayStation, the publishers and PlayStation and the publishers that they work with are definitely pushing like digital download, day one download, things like that. PC gaming has been almost completely download based for the longest time, for years now. Microsoft, obviously. Nintendo might be a little slower on the uptake, like they are with everything on this, but even factoring them into it, again, I'd be shocked if we're waiting 10 years for a complete phase out.
Anybody else want to chime in? Because the other statement he made actually more controversial. But Josh, go ahead.
I completely disagree. I don't think that.
Ooh, a challenger appears.
Whoa!
I'll tell you why. There's a couple of reasons. First of all, the fact is that game publishers, when you're talking about home video game consoles, they rely on retailers to sell those consoles, and there's no retailer partnering if they can't continue to sell stuff on the back end. That's why retailers sell consoles at just like $1 or $2 over what they're actually paying for them, because they're going to make money on the games that they sell. So I think that's number one. Number two, you have the issue with net neutrality going on right now, where you've got all of these ISPs and shit limiting bandwidth. So it's going to make it even harder to go purely digital, because now all of a sudden you're going to have to pay for an internet fast lane. You're going to have to pay for more, gigabits to download and all that other shit. And internet is just inconsistent across the country. It's not consistent in rural areas.
Well, now, but I mean, do you still think it will be equally? Well, you know what? Let's put it this way. You make some excellent points, Josh. I would say in the very near future, we're going to be 90% digital and 10% retail.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with you. Totally digital. I don't think it'll ever happen. Not on game consoles.
And I was gonna add that like Amazon store, and most people will be more than happy to buy your game console off of Amazon. So
but remember, Amazon for a long time stopped selling Nintendo products because they weren't getting the support and additional sales and stuff that they wanted to get from Nintendo. So that's still a retailer that wants money on the back end.
I just feel like, personally, from what I've seen, I don't really have a problem imagining the death of games retail as we know it. I'm sure it'll continue to exist in some form, but as we know, stores like GameStop, they're starting to really adapt and change to the idea of everything being digital. Like, I don't know, just like my local GameStop, it's selling less. Seems like the store is becoming less about games and more about accessories.
It has been for a while. That's just been the trend of GameStop. Because
to me, that
is
Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, that's most GameStops.
Right.
More and more people are buying digital, so GameStop is trying to diversify to get people into the store to buy like geeky shit that's not necessarily a game.
Yeah. To me, just seeing that informs to me my decision that I could see this happening for sure at some point, and I think that point is soon. But Josh, those are great points. Like, not everyone lives in a sort of internet hotspot that I do. Like, well, I'm not even in a hotspot. I'm just in a okay spot. So it's like not everyone has that. Not everyone has access like that. I think the retailers will find a way to remain relevant for a long time. I just know that it's changing, and it's changing fast. So it might not die out in 10 years physically, but
I think it's more likely that
I can see Chris is straining to contain himself. He wants to say something so bad. Chris,
I think you're both right, and this is why. When you go to any marketing conference website, right, the number one thing you'll see is probably one of two things, right? Something called retailment and experiential marketing, right? So I think what is going to happen is storefronts are going to become glorified demos. So you can like go to a store, and I know that these talks are happening based on what I do as well. And so the idea that I've heard a lot is that you could go to a store like Uniqlo, right? So Uniqlo just made all of these interactive mirrors, right? So you could stand in front of the mirror, go through their selection. They'll have like one of everything in the store so you can see and touch it. But you actually order your clothes on the mirror. So you like go in there, you pick your clothes, you pick your selections and colors, you go and you pay, and then it ships to your house. And so a lot of stores are trying to move into how can we engage the younger audience, right? Because I know we hate this word, but millennials are all about experience. They're cheap and they want an experience.
It's very true.
So that's how the marketing industry is moving. And if they're there, and the marketing industry, I think, is last to adopt a lot of stuff, they see that coming. And if I hear the word retailment one more time, I'm going to shoot somebody. But at the same time, like I agree, like
you did it. You done did it now.
God damn it. But I think what people are searching for in terms of what the future of shopping is exactly that. Is they want it to be an experience that they can go and have it be worthwhile. as opposed to going into a store and combating with other people. Pretty much millennials just want to get rid of Black Friday, right? And so, and that kind of whole like atmosphere of what's shopping. And so I think that companies like Macy's and JCPenney are going to be really hard pressed to advance their sales techniques because they're so ingrained in their old styles. But some of these tech companies, these video game manufacturers are going to have an easier time digital. So I think, yes, we'll have storefronts, but it'll be a combination of it all. So you can have an experience shop, but it'll still be digital.
There's a lot there.
Yeah.
I think that's a fantastic analysis, actually, and I think very spot on. I do want to highlight the other thing that the president said during this talk that he gave, which, in my opinion, is honestly the more sort of controversial thing that Sladoff said. He basically talked about microtransactions because obviously that's a plague upon the industry right now and something that a lot of developers are dealing with. And what he basically said, I'm going to sort of summarize it, is that microtransactions aren't bad. It's that building the game around the microtransaction is bad. That there's not enough content basically happening in the game. The exact quote is, in terms of the consumer and the noise you hear in the market right now, it's all about content. It's about over-delivering on content and making sure you're focused on engagement. That has been our strategy and where we're focused. And as long as you keep your eye on that ball, you're going to be okay. The customer is going to be really happy with what they get. And honestly, I trust the man in the sense that if you look at GTA Online, the thing is basically printing money for Take-Two, hand over fist, basically. So I'm really curious about your take on this, Chris. Do you think he's right, or should all microtransactions be eliminated, or are they, mostly terrible, evil?
So I have two ways to. So my realistic response is to say I agree with it not having the game built around it, right? So pay to win, and that I like opening my Overwatch loot boxes, and sometimes when I'm bored and I just have that feeling, I'll just pay $5 and get, I think, 10 or 5 loot boxes, right? So I personally like it. I think in a perfect world, there would be no microtransactions because I miss buying a game and having it, right? And just having a complete experience. Yes. Right?
Tell me about it.
Like how long has it been, right? It's been so long since a game came out. I think some indie games will be able to provide
indie games have kind of done it, but they're shorter experiences overall.
Like games like Ori and the Blind Forest, right? Sure. It was a complete game. Got it. The music was amazing. I finished it, and I was okay with that. I didn't need a sequel. And so, and I would love one, but I don't need one. I feel like it was a complete package, and I just miss that. And I like how they're trying to put content into things, and I get that you have to pay the developers and stuff, but I feel like that should be forethought rather than, I think that's a bad game design as opposed to, just trying to make money. So that's my take on it. So I don't really care personally, but I think in a realistic world, everyone should be able to buy.
Keep cutting in and out.
I'm too far away from my microphone, so I think that's what it is. But what I was saying is, I think in the end, I don't really care. I like opening my loot boxes, and I have the means to buy this stuff. But in a perfect world, you're already working so hard to buy these games just to be told that you have to buy $20 more to open them.
Yeah. I mean, bottom line is if you're paying for a full price game, you expect a full price game.
Yeah.
Like a free to play title with microtransactions for your $60.
Yeah, that's fair. Yeah, it's like I opened Destiny and the fact I didn't have to download that expansion pissed me off, right? It's already in the game. They had it. And I have a friend who works at Bungie and they were done with that thing. Like, whoever knows, right? They're probably working on it before Destiny even came out. Right, so they knew this was going to happen, and there's just something slimy about that I don't know, that I don't like.
I agree.
There is. Josh,
I do want to say,
kind of quiet. Oh, go ahead, Connor.
Just saying, modern example of a complete game for a complete price: The Witcher 3 Wild Hunt. Just needs to be known that like hours. Like it's such a huge engrossing game. And CD Projekt Red was really awesome about just free add-ons, free new quests. And when they did have expansions, they were reasonably priced and also complete experiences. So that's a great example of a company that's doing it right, I think.
One of the greatest games in the last 5 years, for sure.
Absolutely. One of my favorites of all time.
I really need to sit down and play that game.
You really do.
I don't want to play it till I beat 2, and I'm not consistent enough.
You don't need to.
I never played any of the first 2 Witcher games, so I got right into the Wild Hunt, no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, so I can confirm.
Interesting. All right, so that is all for our regular stories, but we have some amazing what the fuck stories for you. And as usual, we are gonna go from less fucked up to more fucked up. So we're gonna start off with Nintendo. Actually, it's pretty rare for us to do. Like it's funny because when we're doing the show, we'll often be like, "What the fuck, Nintendo?" But it's pretty rare that we actually do a "What the fuck Nintendo" story. If that makes any sense? But yeah. I thought this qualified. So it's official. This is an official thing that's happening. There's going to be a Super Mario cereal. Like this is a thing.
It's about time.
Yeah. You can go to I don't think it's in stores yet, but it will be soon. I think Kellogg's is the one making the cereal, I believe. But that's not why we're talking about this. We're talking about this because the cereal is going to come with a little amiibo sticker that you will be able to use in Super Mario Odyssey. And of course, a lot of people were initially pretty upset about this, believe it or not. And the question was, what will this amiibo sticker grant you? Well, that has finally been revealed. And it is a heart. It's a heart.
That's such a cereal thing to do.
Or a couple of coins. That's what it will grant you. And I think this is a missed opportunity, honestly.
Yeah.
By Nintendo or the cereal company. I don't really know who reached out to whom first. But really? A fucking heart and some coins? You mean the thing I can get by just like running around the level for like 5 seconds?
So wait, are these in-game coins or in-game hearts, or are they just literally stickers?
No, in-game coins or hearts. So you take the sticker off the box, put it on the amiibo sensor on the Switch, and while the game is on, and some coins will appear, or a heart.
I just want my 1990s Nintendo cereal system back. That's what I want. The Super Mario side and the Zelda side, one's fruity and one's berry. What's the difference? Who cares? Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I must have missed out on that one.
Oh, here. You've never seen that before?
Yeah, we're probably too young for that.
I might have been too young. Yeah, I might have been a long time.
Shit, am I the old man of the group? That's not cool.
You are, unfortunately. Oh. That's okay.
Don't worry, you don't look a day over 70.
Wait, no, I'm 36. Well, I'm
there. It is again. Savagery, man. Ouch. Shit.
I'm just exercising my First Amendment.
I knew Chris was young, but I didn't. I thought you guys were closer to my age.
I'm 27, so I'm not too far.
I'm 27 too. So
I'm the closest, Josh. I'm 32. So.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
But it was still I don't remember that cereal.
Chris and I are the kids.
I put a link to the cereal in our chat there.
But,
yeah, look at that. That's weird.
But so the thing is, my original point was, it's just a cool idea. Why not just fucking like Kellogg's, pay Nintendo the money, have them design a small level or something, or do some kind of cereal power up that's weird. I don't know. Make it interesting. Don't give us a couple of fucking coins in the heart. Like, do something with this. I don't think anyone's going to use this amiibo sticker. It's the most useless piece of junk I can imagine.
Well, do you think maybe they're thinking that people are going to keep buying cereal, so they'll just get coins as they buy the cereal?
That might be their play. Like, hey, it's like, the more you eat, the better score you have in your game or whatever.
It's like Call of Duty XP doublers, right?
Exactly. It's like, chugging game fuel so you can get better XP bonuses or whatever.
It doesn't make sense though, because Super Mario Odyssey has no lives. There's no lives in this game.
Yeah, that's what's confusing me.
Well, no, coins are your life in the game.
Coins are your life in the game, but you can always just get more coins, and the coins are not rare or hard to come by, and there's no score in Mario Odyssey to my knowledge. So again, the analogy doesn't work. It's so weird. I don't know.
It's just lazy, you know. It's just like maybe they just thought the tie-in was good enough on its own. They didn't need to actually pull anything off with it.
It's a cool idea, or it's terrible execution. Like, what if they gave you like the original game after you bought like 5 boxes or something and mailed in the thing? That'd be kind of cool.
That'd be neat.
Also, in Mario Odyssey, you can change the level at any time. You can go from easy to hard, and if it's on easy, if you just stand around for a couple of seconds, your life meter refills to 6. So
regenerating health mechanics.
Yeah, on the
every game has them.
But I'm just saying, it's just such a weird thing to give players. It doesn't make any sense at all. So our next story involves, let me see, what is our next story? All right, so I'm going to do this because this is fucking brilliant. A Twitch user.
This guy needs a job, right? Yeah. I want to give him a job. This is fantastic.
He needs a medal.
I know, right?
So I'm sure you've seen this. This has made its rounds on the internet. He basically was watching a live UFC fight, but made it appear as if he was playing the UFC game. He was, because there's a UFC 3 game coming out, and he fooled Twitch. He streamed the entire fight. Pretty fucking amazing.
What a legend, dude. What a fucking legend.
It's like
such a boss, dude. It's
right?
So I'm laughing.
My favorite part is when it's like he held a controller and made gaming sounds.
Yeah. He held the controller. He made commentary as he was playing.
Like, yo, these graphics, man! Check this out.
Game of the year.
It's true. Listen, absolutely. And if anyone looked at a thumbnail, it looked like he was just playing something.
God damn, it's so funny.
How many people figured it out to say in that article?